I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I wanted to be able to talk to you a little bit about the matter that we have now in terms of, I haven't seen the Hatchet Man, and the blessings and increase that are the investing and the increase, and what the Lord has allowed me to see and share, that I will be sharing in detail on this coming Open Rewards prayer meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. On this very same channel. So if you want to know more in depth about what's going to happen with this investment, what is happening is that because of the two court filings that we have approximately $500 million coming to us. And the Lord said that he has put this plan together and given me the biblical foundation to explain it from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, to bless the people for the pain and suffering that we've gone through over the last few years with this foreclosure action. That really it's his blessing. And so therefore it's for members only. This is not the investment that we're speaking of, and we'll be more detailed about it tomorrow night, is not for non-members. You have to be a member, and you got to be a member for at least a year. And you got to be in good and regular standing. But God said to me in prayer today, he said, the funding that we have coming, right now we have a $69 million lawsuit in the Southern District Court, that's the federal court, $69 million plus interest at 18% over a period of 23 years. And we've got a $4 million lawsuit in the New York State Supreme Court of malpractice against Mark Anderson. And those two cases should begin to produce within 6 months to 18 months. I don't think it'll go beyond that. The $69 million case could be sent back to state court. That's a minute possibility, and I want to be upfront with you. If it's sent back to state court, that means it's going to take another year to a year and a half before a check will be written. But all the arguments have already been made in federal court. So the arguments and depositions and discovery and all of that will be a cinch, because we've already made a year and a half of arguments in federal court. So if it gets sent back to state court, I don't think that it will, but I just want to be upfront with you. But that $69 million at 18% interest, I'm not that savvy at math, could produce $300 or $400 million by itself. And then, of course, we are working on filing another that I made mention of. We're tweaking it, $300 million lawsuit. So we have 3 suits that could easily produce over $1 billion that will be given to the church. Now, I don't need any money, and the Lord knows I don't. All I need is this building. And the Lord said to me in prayer this morning that, using the parable of the example of what a kingdom of heaven is like, a man traveling in a far country that gives one his servant 5 talents. He takes that 5 talents, puts it to the money changers, and gets 5 talents more. So he ends up with 10 talents when the Lord of the servants comes back. And so we're saying to anyone that gives to us, you give us, let's just for an example, $10,000. When the checks are written in the suits that we have 1 to 3 years from now, you'll get your $10,000 back plus $10,000 in interest. And this is biblical, by the way. It is what Jesus taught this himself from the Bible. To the disciples in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25. So, but the thing that's important now that I need to express is that the Lord has said, and I'll be more detailed about this on tomorrow night in the Open Rewards prayer meeting, that this is for members only. That if you're a non-member, then you can't contribute. This is in-house. And then the Lord said the reason being is because God's going to give, look at it this way, and I pray God will give me the articulation of it. But look at it from this point of view. Elder Butler, look at it from this point of view. We could potentially receive, and right now we're lined up to receive, $500 million. And God just wants to give it to the people. but he wants to see your faith come forward first. And I'm not saying this as a fundraiser. I told Elder Smith, we were talking, it was yesterday, I was talking to Elder Smith. I'm talking to them both on Sunday and yesterday. Anyway, I don't want to come across as somebody just trying to hustle money. He said, Pastor, you don't look like that. You don't act like that. I don't want to be seen that way. And that's why this from Matthew's Gospel, Mr. Engineer, bring up Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25. The very fact Jesus said, do this. Jesus said, do it. But he wants to check out your faith. If you give $5, you'll get your $5 back, and you'll get $10. You'll get another $5 in addition to that. And read it yourself in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, starting at verse 14. It's right there, right down to the last interest statement. And there's also a segment there where the people who didn't have the faith, who didn't give, but God had given to them, he cursed them and sent them into outer darkness. So Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling in a far country who called his own servants, delivered unto his goods, and gave unto one 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to another, and to another 1, and every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. And he that received the 5 talents went and traded, that is to say invested, and he got 5 talents more. He likewise received a 2. He went and traded and got another 2. He put his money but the other guy went and digged in the earth, the Bible says. I have to tell you, when Jesus, and I'm not going to read all the blessings because our time is so short here now, but what Jesus says when he comes back, and the man who he gave 5 talents now got 10, he said, "You're good and faithful servant." And the same thing to the man that got the 2 talents. He said, "You're good and faithful servant." But the man that got the 1, he cursed him and sent him into outer darkness. So you got those 3 types of people when God gives them. And by the way, this is not talent such as skills or ability to write or to dance or to whatever. This is actually talent. That term talent is indicated money, currency. So Mr. Engineer, you could drop that if you like. What I want to do is say to you what the Lord said to me this morning, that this is his way of blessing all of us for the years of suffering. See, when those funds come back, they're not coming to me. We have to understand they're not coming to me. God's going to give $500 million to the members of this church over the next 1 to 3 years because we have suffered. But you have to demonstrate your faith first. What are you going to put on the table? Are you going to put something on the table to show your faith? To show you are indeed a good servant? Are you going to put something on the table? And if you put $5 on the table, you're going to get, and again, I don't want to, this is Jesus. You just saw me read it. You just saw me read it. Jesus said a man had 5, got 5 more. So I'm not here trying to hustle anybody. But you got to show your faith. And then he shows us the man who didn't have faith, who didn't put anything on the table, and what happened to him. The Lord said to me this morning, please listen to me. Elder Butler, please listen to me. The Lord said this, and we could get more than $500 million. God said that belongs to you. For the suffering and struggling and praying that the LGBTQ, the pensioners, Negro, the Mellon Bank, the haters have put us through years, and he's going to reward us this way. Not me. Now, I will get something, obviously. I'll get a lot to eat. But he's going to reward you. This is for you. This is for you. Sister Millie, this is for you. God's going to reward you. Every member, that's why you got to be a member, and you can't just join now. You have to be a member for at least a year. For every member, by the way, there's a woman named Laval Wilderman. You're included in this. And I'll speak more about that. Usually show up for the Sabbath messages. And There's a young man in Alabama who's going to be anointed soon. He's 12 years old. He's going to be anointed. He's in Alabama. He's going to be anointed. You're included too. Your grandmother has covered you. You're going to be anointed, and you're included too. But listen, y'all listen to me. You say, Pastor Manny, you don't know if you're going to actually get those funds. You don't know if we're going to get them. What has happened to us is clear. Out of the mouth of the Attorney General for the state of New York, Letitia James, said that tax lien law was discriminatory, predatory, unconstitutional. That came out of the mouth of the woman who is the most powerful law person in the state of New York. Those same words came out of the mouth of Eric Adams, who is the mayor of the city of New York. Those same words came out of that it was discriminatory, that it was unjust, that it was predatory, came out of the mouth of the city council president and several members of city council. Here's why we're going to get funding, and we're not going to lose. When the government discovers that something is unconstitutional, and yet you went to jail because of an unconstitutional law, when it's discovered that law is unconstitutional, the law is done away with, and you get out of jail. We're not arguing what should have happened, what should not happen, whether the case. What the argument is here, both in federal court and in state court, is that all officials have now said that law brought injury and harm to people, and they've done away with it. And we're now saying, well, we filed a case saying we want to be remunerated for that. And God is saying, please listen to me, and I'll try to do this better tomorrow night. What the Lord is saying, Evangelist Hundley, what the Lord is saying is that $500 million, he's going to give it to ATLAH, to the people. It doesn't come to me. And so the way, rather than Pastor Manning, I was going to give $100,000 to everybody in the Breakfast Club. Okay. Everybody in the breakfast program gets $100,000. But rather than me making those individual decisions about how much someone should get, you make the decision about how much you put on the table. That's just how that is. That's just how, and I mean, when the Lord said that to me this morning, that this is, and I've never wanted the money for myself in the first place. I've never wanted it. I do like a nice suit, and I have to tell you that. Now you just got to put up with that. Now I can drive a nice car. But after that, I'm good to go. Elizabeth and I, we live in a 3rd-story walk-up. We live in this building. We don't have an elevator in here. We walk upstairs. It's a 3-story walk-up. And we're comfortable. We're just as happy as 2 peas in a pod living in this building. I don't need no house out there in Westchester County. I don't need no swimming pool. All I got to do is wait for it to rain and the roof leaks. Oh, no swimming pool. I'm serious. But when the Lord said to me today that all that money is for you, the members, not for outsiders. Outsiders can't participate in it. So it's just, I'm just thankful to the Lord for being me. I'm thankful to the Lord for staying through this process. And I'm thankful to you. And so you're going to get, obviously, to the people that work in the breakfast program, the Lord loves that breakfast program. He does. And it's just, think about it this way. The 2 things are going to happen. One is when we get the money, it won't be more than 3 years, we'll get the money, nearly over $500 million, our members are going to be walking in tall cotton. But that ain't all God says. Miss Engineer, bring it back up one more time. That's not all the Lord said. The Lord said then after he gives us that money from these lawsuits, he's going to raise us up and make us ruler over a whole lot of others. This is so wonderful. This is so wonderful. The Lord said that to me this morning. I said, I'm so glad I'm me. I read from Acts chapter 12 earlier today, where they killed James, where Herod killed James with the sword. I told you I ain't seen the hatchet man. I haven't seen the hatchet man now since I've been teaching this. I don't know where he went. He ain't been showing up in my bedroom no more. The Lord said to me, and here's what the Lord's saying to us, is that even after he gives us $500 million, and everybody going to be walking in tall cotton, everybody. There's a verse in 2 Kings where the woman was broke, her husband died, and Elisha, the prophet Elisha told her, go borrow as many pots as you can. Borrow pots from all your neighbors and bring them and put them in the house. So even if you don't have any money, go and borrow from Peter and Paul and everybody. Go get it and bring it here. And then the Bible said that the Lord filled all those pots that she'd borrowed from everybody else. I'll read that tomorrow night. He filled all those pots. But here's what the Lord said. Here's what God says to me this morning. When we put our amount on the table, whatever we put on the table is what God, he's going to give it back to us, and he's going to give us equal amount of so if we put 10, we'll get 20. But that ain't all, and that's probably not the best thing. For his Lord said unto him, well done, thy good, if you're a good servant, and you're a faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over this one thing, over these few things. You've been faithful over that. I'm going to make you ruler over. So not only are we going to be walking in tall cotton, but he's going to make us ruler. This event, and I can tell you, when these court cases are closed and the verdict in our favor, it's going to bring national and international attention to this ministry, and it's going to give us the opportunity to be ruler over a whole lot of people and a whole lot of things. But you got to show your faithfulness, and you got to be a member. You can't just join. I say, well, I'll join now, and no, you got to be a member, because this is our blessing. So I thank the Lord for letting me speak. I thank him, Lord. It hasn't been easy. But since I started, I tell you the truth, since I have been preaching this venture capital, this invest and increase, I ain't seen the hatchet man. Now, it could be because we got Attorney Flannery on board. I ain't seen the hatchet man. I ain't seen him. I haven't seen him. See that? See how bad you talk, man? Get your English together, man. I thought you had a master's degree. Well, I do. But I still got a degree from North Carolina being country. So you got to put up with that. And by the way, you can contact me if you want to. Don't call me because I just don't have time to pick up phone calls. I don't have time to do that unless it's a matter of great urgency. But you can email me at ATLAH127@gmail.com. 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 You can email me there and put in the subject matter, Strength to Strength Project, the Strength to Strength Project, and I'll be able to screen the emails and get back to you when I get the opportunity. But this is really wonderful news. Out of a bad thing is now going to come some really, really big, big blessing.